Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far with another massive matchup coming up this weekend between OpTic and the Atlanta FaZe. It does seem Prolute will still be in the OpTic team, at least for now. Scump has given some further details on exactly why he has been such a seamless replacement for Illy in their team. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Videos to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. I thought this is rather cool actually on this day yesterday, back in 2020. That's when Prestinni joined the Chicago Huntsmen, right? It's the start of this year, or the start of that year. They had Gunless in their team. That didn't work out. There was internal drama. Gunless Envoy didn't seem to get on particularly well. Prestinni joins the team, of course, Arcitys, as he was on the team at the time, his brother, and yeah, they have some pretty decent success from here on out in the season. Of course, at this point, everything was kind of going online. This also just to mention real quick, because I'm kind of surprised, honestly, the fact that this is so hard to get your hands on any information as to what's going on in the challenger scene. Yeast points out, of course, the substitute for Florida. Some people have wondered so far this season, frankly, whether he could actually step into their starting team at some point, but this team is going to go to the Toronto Challengers LAN, of course, which is coming up alongside the major relatively soon. But these are the standings, right, for the NA Elite. And I'm surprised, like, maybe the CDL did tweet this, but I can't honestly say that I saw it. No disrespect to CDC Intel, right, exactly the opposite. But, like, you know, it's kind of weird in a way, I think, that I have to look up these type of tweets to actually find out what's going on in the challenger scene, as opposed to seeing the CDL tweeted or anything. The whole three pillars of the league itself, the challenger scene, and the fans, like, you know, at least one of those doesn't necessarily get the support that they might well deserve. And the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of, like, you know, big name players on some of these teams that are, like, well, have been on the bench, for example, as they are right now for some of the pro teams, that you would think that maybe they would actually be talking about, but apparently that's not the case. Anyway, the top 4 teams here make it through to the playoffs, and then there's going to be a winner of the Stage 3 Elite. Also interesting to me that there's 5 stages, I'm pretty sure, still for the Elite this season, only 4 majors. Last year it was kind of, they ran alongside each other, so I think they've kind of let down the pro scene there in a way as well. But it's Toronto Ultra Academy, North America, and whatever it takes to kind of, well, number 1, number 2 seed, as you can see right here. These are actually the teams themselves. You can see, like, some of these teams that are pretty big name. I'm pretty sure, like, even the Iron Blood team or one of these other teams has, like, Assault and the guys in it, but Neptune and MajorManiak, that's the whatever it takes team. There's, of course, the Ultra Academy North America we know about. So, yeah, I just thought I'd mention this real quick because it doesn't really seem like the CDL wants to talk about it. And this is in the European side. We saw AYM a couple of days ago, the new Spanish team, Ultra Academy EU, and War, of course, we know from, well, from the Prime Classic, and then Rokkr Academy, of course, who were dominating the European sides early on in this season. Just thought I'd mention that for you guys as we kind of get to the end of Stage 3 on the Challengers front. Let's dive into this as well, of course, because 100 Thieves, I thought this was really interesting. Like, they're always pushing the boat out in the boundaries on what is kind of possible as an esports organization, and that they've announced that they're actually going to make a video game. So this got a fair bit of traction, obviously, on their own Twitter, and then they kind of made another account called Project X where they talk about it as well. And this is a really interesting idea. Of course, the games that, well, Nature, especially as the CEO talks about, are, well, I don't think they said specifically, they might have said specifically whether it's going to be like an FPS or whatever. I think they've not necessarily said that. But the games that Nature and John Robertson mentioned in this video were pretty much like, you know, COD 4 and basically just CSGO and like Halo 2, Halo 3, like early Call of Duty games, this type of stuff. So more than likely they're thinking about making some sort of FPS title. And of course we've seen what X-Defiant is doing, and X is working on that project, right? And there's a lot of other kind of entities right now trying to step into that genre, because we've seen the success of Valorant, the Nature really liked as well. But I thought it was really interesting the way they said this, the fact that they're going to be super transparent with the community, like taking feedback from the community at every single step of the process, because a lot of times when these games are made, they're made effectively behind closed doors, then eventually they come out to the public, and by the time people actually do get feedback on them, it's rather too late to change the game, especially the development cycle that these games are on. So thought this is a really interesting concept and idea, like having Nature involved, of course, with this, given his history, and I'm sure like he understands really, and he knows full well that Call of Duty is not what it was, you know, what it once was, I suppose, what it is nowadays, right? So I think Nature probably has an eye to change that, or like to try and make a game that can compete with that on that level, right? And I think that his big picture thinking is really cool from Nature on the guys, and obviously because Nature's involved and the organizations are involved, and they talked about their pro players on their team for many organizations, like I think they can make a cracking game here. So hopefully that's the case. Not sure it's going to be the Call of Duty killer or anything, and it's probably a few years down the line, but certainly worthy of mention nonetheless. Let's dive into the OpTic stuff then, because Dashy obviously had some very positive words to say for Prolute after their 6-0 result in terms of map count last weekend's one up against the LA Guerrillas, and of course since then they made a change, they were looking particularly good, but Florida Mutineers throwing them I thought was rather impressive nonetheless. I thought these stats were actually kind of incredible, that how consistent Dashy has been across the 3 modes, a 1.22 in his hardpoints, 1.23 in Surge, and a 1.23 in Control. That's pretty absurd consistency across the board. Like yeah, not too far off his Black Ops 4 year, to be honest. I think in Black Ops 4 he had an average of like a 1.28 KD, which was completely outrageous, but this year he's honestly not too far off a similar pace. Of course, Prolute was pretty happy about their result. He said the team was flowing just a few days ago, and Scump has a few words to say for Prolute actually about kind of when he was first introduced to this guy, because I'm sure Scump had heard of Prolute right down there in his challenger side. Of course, Dashy and Lily got on with him rather well before, and they of course wanted to bring him in the team, and they decided, okay, Prolute's going to be the man to kind of fix the role or fill the role that Illy kind of was left on the team, at least for now, and probably will be back hopefully sooner rather than later. But Scump says that when he first got introduced to this guy effectively, like he came into the Hex quarters, and Prolute, after living quite a way away, was already there. He was already sitting down, he was already ready to go, already at his station warming up or whatever, just kind of like giving an indication of the passion this guy has and the grind that this guy's willing to put in, very similar to Illy in that regard, and why he seems to be such a suitable replacement.
Nice, yeah, Byron's the man. I actually like was walking into the Hex quarters yesterday, or 2 days ago, whenever he was here for the first day, and he was just sitting there, and I was so like taken back. I was like, wait, what the I was like, you're already here? Because we like signed him the night before and he was already there. I was like, dude, what? Like, did you teleport? He was just sitting there, just set up. I don't know what was going on. Nah, he's not from Texas. Y'all tried to chalk scrims for tacos today? Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yes, we did.
Wait. What do you mean you tried chalking scrims for?
I tried to get us out of scrims to go get the best tacos in North Texas. Sue me.
You're one fat mother.
Sue me. I'd do it again. I'm
running back.
Oh my god.
Thoughts on a 10,000 bounty this week? Why the hell do we have to get a 10,000 bounty against FaZe? Why can't we get another team like that, huh? Why does like New York, who's like on the up, has to play a team that's on the, like not necessarily on the up? Like that's whack, bro. Not a fan of that. You know? If you went 5-0 with a 15-0 map count with playing Prolute, is in there ready for a smash? That's a really like again, and that's a really good question, Doggo, because I watch the TacticalRab videos to keep myself informed of the...
Shout out Rambo Ray, by the way, if you're watching. Appreciate you. I thought I'd share those other couple of clips there because they were kind of funny as well. The fact that Scump was like, look, I want to get these tacos rather than playing scrims. But, you know, apparently, like, at least based on what he kind of, the context there was, it seemed like Rambo or whatever was like, look, we're not chalking scrims for these tacos or whatever the case might be. And we're just going to get the job done regardless, which, of course, is probably what you would expect at the end of the day. And also, as Rambo says, right, if we got one of these bounty matches for $10,000, why do we have to play FaZe? Why can't we play at a Paris or some team which is, theoretically rather easy? Even though I did actually look, I'm pretty sure, when you look at these matches, I think that in terms of the CDL standings right now, these matches are pretty much all right next to each other. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but like OpTic and FaZe, that's number 1, number 2. I think the Los Angeles Guerrillas and Seattle are like number 6, number 7, or number 7, number 8. At least if they're not all neck and neck, they're very close. Like Ultra Minnesota, I think, are right next to each other. Definitely London and the Boston Breach are 3rd and 4th. It's New York and Paris that are 11th and 12th right now still, and maybe it's Los Angeles Guerrillas and Florida Mutineers that are a little bit apart actually now. I'm not sure exactly who comes 6th right after LAG. It might actually be LA Thieves. So I'm not sure they're quite neck and neck, but like still, it's rather interesting that all these matches theoretically are with teams that are very similar in terms of point standings at the moment, which maybe is intentional, maybe it's not. But of course, OpTic don't have the easiest time to get their $10,000 that they're going to play this week. But yeah, just another indication really from Scump and the rest of the team. The Prolute has very much been the guy to get in, right? They're seemingly very happy with the passion that this guy brings to the table. And that's the thing from his perspective as well. It could be a really good thing for OpTic here in a way, because I'm sure they're going to understand, and even Crimsix said this when they did the trials, even without Hydra, without him, like, and Drill said this as well actually, when subliners were doing that playing without a player for a brief period of time really shows you what that player brings to the team, what you're lacking in some regard. Like maybe Illy was like just super hard carrying certain communications on certain rotations, then all the other guys realize, okay, we've got to pick that up a little bit more and not rely on Illy so much to do that now that Prolute maybe doesn't do that, or maybe that's not quite an aspect to his game that Illy has, and therefore you understand more about your team. When Illy does come back in, they even find a better way to work around him or to fill in for each other's deficiencies and this type of stuff. So it might even end up being a positive thing that Illy's been out for a few weeks so they get to see that. But of course, for Prolute's side, he certainly wants to prove to other teams in the league that, like, yeah, he's a guy to go for. So that's kind of where the passion comes into a degree from him, right? Is not just doing the best for this team and the guys that he's got on with and obviously respected, I'm sure, for a very long period of time, but also to try and make sure and, make his point known to the rest of the teams in the league that, like, he's a force to be reckoned with when, of course, Illy does come back into the roster as we expect, hopefully, before the major. We shall see what happens on that front. And just that clip from Scump does just go to show, I think, that even if it wasn't Illy that necessarily chose Prolute to be his replacement, but I'm sure Illy was involved to some degree, that Illy understands that this guy has what it takes to eventually be his doppelganger, as Rambo described it, right? And it will fill in for the team rather nicely indeed. A few things to finish off with here, actually. I thought this is kind of beautiful, but kind of sad at the same time, just looking at the way things have progressed over history here, because we looked at these maps a few days ago, from the Advanced Warfare days through to World War II and now through to the present day. But like, it's just unbelievable how this goes. And this is, I'm sure, Nadeshot's looking at this for his game and thinking, well, like, how has Call of Duty regressed in this manner? Where back in the Advanced Warfare days, we had 12 maps that competitive was viable on. Some of these maps were DLC, so we've got Compound, Drift here, Skyrise. I mean, those were all DLC maps that were played. There was another map here that people, I think, are forgetting about called Parliament that was played. It was in front of the Houses of Parliament. It was played for Uplink, I think, briefly at some events. If you guys remember that one, let me know in the comments, because that's a seriously niche map, I think. But still, that was another DLC map that was played. There's 9 other maps here, though. We've got, Biolab, I love that map so much. Riot, I mentioned the other day for Search and Destroy, was really good. Like, some of these maps were so good. Then World War II went downhill. Everyone complained about the maps in World War II, and understandably so, I think. But still, there were Dock, Saint-Marie, Valkyrie, Arden, I thought was actually a relatively balanced map, even though it was kind of boring, especially for Capture the Flag. And today we have this. So it's just kind of tragic to look at in a way. There's so much good stuff to say about these Advanced Warfare maps that, of course, look, they were designed for jetpacks and stuff. They wouldn't necessarily work if you transition them perfectly to boots on the ground, even though, in fairness, Detroit and Valkyrie are exactly that in Advanced Warfare through to World War II, and that worked out rather nicely indeed. So it's just kind of a shame to see how things have regressed, to be honest. This also on the OpTic side, just thought was interesting to mention also, because if you've got to pick 3 of these games to play forever, and the rest of them have to disappear, what are you going to do? For me, it's just Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3 is easy, lock that in, no problem at all. Like, that's kind of the era I'm from, to be honest. The third one is really tough for me. I think Black Ops 1 gets underrated, but I don't think I'm going to pick it, because 3 Black Ops games is pretty outrageous. I was a bit too young, really, to play Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 in their prime, so I probably can't go for those, because I just don't have the experience playing the games. I barely played any Warzone, not particularly interested in that anyway. Like, a real, like, weird hot take here. Like, Advanced Warfare actually might be a good game, because it's just so much fun, but a weird hot take genuinely might be Call of Duty Ghosts, just so you can play Search and Destroy. Like, if you had 3 COD games to play forever, I'd spend like the 95% of the time playing Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 2, and then that 5% of the time I just want to play like one of the best ever Search and Destroy games. Like, I probably had more fun on playing Call of Duty Ghost Search and Destroy than maybe any other game, at least when that kind of GB thing was kicking off, when it was like the pre-World War II off-season, and everyone was playing Ghost to go back in the day. That game for Search is so good that it might even be worth picking with 2 other great games like this, but probably still a bit of a faded take. But very much enjoying your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit a like button, tells your YouTube gods this is a good video, and as like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.